on, girl, let's scream.
I am a god.
No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel. This is the part where you run.
Come on, scream.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Scream, a podcast where we dive into our favorite horror movies. I'm Parker.
And I'm Stevie.
I'm Keaton!
Yay! Today we are looking at 2022's The Menu, directed by Mark Millar.
Join us as we journey to Hawthorne Island and we learn what's on the menu.
You ready to scream, girl?
Let's scream!
So we have a very special guest this episode.
We do.
It's my partner, Keaton.
Who gets mentioned like every episode.
I do. I
You're
really
like this,
do.
like, unseen force that, like...
And now I'm here.
Now you're
Now you
here.
can hear me too.
Yes. So, Keaton, you requested that we do this movie.
And you wanted to be on this?
This is your
You wanted
favorite
to
scary
discuss
movie.
this?
Yeah, this is my favorite scary because I hate scary movies.
Yes.
I'm a big
I've gotten...
baby.
There's a few I've gotten you to watch that we've watched for the podcast.
We've gotten you to watch some.
Some
But
of
there's
them.
some I
and
know
some
you-
of them I like watch, like quote unquote watch. Like,
Yeah.
But you're like covering your...
yeah, I'm like, like
Keaton will be doing something completely different.
oh yeah. But this is
While
like
sitting in the
my
room.
favorite too. Well, I love campy horror movies.
You watched, oh no, we haven't done Signs. We should do Signs. I was
Oh.
thinking Signs because I watched that around the time we watched, I watched The Ring
Ring.
for the first time.
Didn't we watch Scary Movie
We watched
3?
Scary Movie 3.
You watched Scary Movie 3 with us, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not hold up. That one, I was
terrible.
like, wow, this one was not as funny as I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's all like sight gags. And
It's so
the comedy
Okay,
writing is bad.
But the best one, I will say, is the cop's hat that keeps getting bigger around.
Yeah.
That one's so good. Okay.
Well, so before we get into it, we always like to kind of give our initial thoughts on the film. This came out in 2022, which was like the most stacked
There was
year
a lot
of
for
horror
sure.
movies. Good horror movies,
Yes.
too. Like,
Yes.
I don't remember a year in recent history that had so many great horror films.
Yeah.
And I'll say, like, I'll go ahead and give my initial thoughts first. I'll say when I watched this, it came out in between, like, Jordan Peele's Nope and, like, X and Pearl and
Barbarian.
and all these movies that I loved. And this movie kind of floated up under the radar for me.
I can see
I
that.
watched it with Vivian and I was like, we enjoyed it, but we, like, it wasn't one that, like, I thought about again afterwards. I will say, going back to it to do it for this podcast, I really enjoyed it.
This is
Right,
one, rewatching it, it's a good rewatch because there's so many things you pick up on.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's
like
a
the
lot.
conversations, the things they're
Yes.
saying, and it's
Yeah.
like, I really like this one.
And there's so
Yeah.
many characters that when you rewatch it, you can almost focus on someone that's not Margot. You can kind of
Yeah.
like I remember specifically this time around, I was really focused on Lillian. Like every time she was in the background, I was watching
Lillian
her.
is the food
Food critic.
critic. Yes, she's hilarious.
And so like
Yeah.
since there's so many people and they all share so much time, it's just I love that. I love when you can see all the connections going together and the puzzle pieces of like it's just a movie that like once you know what the end is going to be like, it's fun to watch it unfold.
Because there's so much foreshadowing
Yeah.
in the script.
Yeah.
It's a great script.
Yes.
Oh, very good
hilarious.
script. Very
Great
on par
cast.
with like
Great cast.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a weak performance in this film.
No.
I really like everyone in it.
And it's such an ensemble. There's so many great characters.
Uh-huh.
Yes. It's a good, like, I like those kind of, like, I've always liked murder stories that just kind of give you an ensemble of people, but there's not really, like, I understand, yeah, this has a main character. Like,
Right.
obviously, it always is going to follow, like, there's always going to be the final girl or, like, that one, but, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but, like, I've always liked that.
yeah.
Yeah, there's
Like-
like more to focus on.
It kind of reminds me of I don't know if it's the Agatha Christie story, and then there were none. I know it's a little different because that's like a 1-by-1 kind of thing, but it's still like, the island setting and like
Yeah, the kind of in the ensemble vibe of it.
the ensemble of like
all the different
the characters
Yeah.
aren't really like
Yeah,
you
for
learn
sure.
a little bit about them, and so but like
Yeah.
You don't get like a full idea of them still.
And
like,
these characters are so unlikable too.
Likeable.
Yeah.
Like, by the
I
end,
was
you're
just
like,
like-
thank God. Like,
Yeah.
he really is the good guy in this movie. Like,
Right,
at
right.
a certain point, I'm like, thank you, Chef.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chef. Like,
You're rooting for Chef.
Yeah.
You really are. He's great. And Ray Fiennes, who, Voldemort.
Voldemort.
He's a great villain. What
He's
can
a-
you say?
he was also in Schindler's
Except
List.
he's
Like,
the-
playing
yeah,
a
Well,
Nazi.
he's actually like
He's the good person.
scary. Was he the good person in Schindler's
Wasn't he?
List?
Well, who is he?
I thought he was the scariest Nazi.
No, he's the Nazi.
Oh,
The bad
I
one.
thought he was the good guy. Never mind.
Girl, no.
Good villain. Good villain.
He's great at playing the villain. He's got those really piercing blue eyes that
Yeah.
are so creepy, and the way
He just has a
he
very
talks.
yes, the way he talks.
When he's like, it wounds me when you
And
don't
he-
eat the food.
He's very bony. Like, he has a very square,
Yeah,
bony face.
Structured.
Like,
Lot of
structured
structure.
face. So, like,
Kinda
it's
like-
good for being stern.
yeah. Like when Willem Dafoe played the Green Goblin, he didn't need the mask.
No.
He was
had
scary without it, and that's how Ray Fiennes is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say overall, I enjoyed this movie. I think it was a fun rewatch.
Yeah.
I have some issues with it, which we'll get into, but
Yeah.
overall, I enjoy it, and I'm ready to scream. Are you guys ready to scream?
I'm ready.
I'm ready to
fucking
scream.
scream.
So, from this point on, we will be discussing the plot of the menu, the whole shebang. So, if you have not seen the menu, and I would say you don't want to spoil.
No,
The menu.
no, it's a complex movie. You want to see it for the first time. You don't want
There's
to hear
some
us talk
little
about it.
twists that are little fun surprises. So definitely go watch it before you listen to this review, and then come back and get into it with us.
Get into it.
All right. So the menu. We start on this kind of boat that is transporting this group of people to the island. We meet Margot, who is played by Anya Taylor-Joy.
The voice Peach.
The voice.
Well,
That's known her most critically acclaimed role, obviously.
the voice of Peach.
Now, Anya Taylor-Joy, I would say she got her start in the movie The Witch.
Which that's the first time I ever saw her.
Me
I
too.
love her, and I love that movie.
And I think she is an incredible actress.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I think that she is so good in horror movies. She was fucking amazing in The Witch.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
my
good at the thriller.
God.
And
Because
she's
in that-
never plays the same. Like
Yeah.
her she's very good at making characters and
Yeah.
creating her characters.
Quite
she never
versatile.
feels like. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, some actors, and I'm not saying a lot of people we watch, but it can be very, especially horror movie actors. Sometimes it's their performances are always one note, and that's why they usually stick to horror.
Right. But she is so dynamic.
She's able to branch
Yeah.
out and do so many different things.
She's got the biggest set of eyes I've ever seen.
Like
Oh
a deer.
my
Like,
God.
don't I deer. Just like...
Yeah.
And they're
Like
far.
the definition
Far
of
apart.
Doe-Eye.
They're far apart.
And yet she's gorgeous.
And I always noticed the far apart when she was in The Queen's Gambit, because you get all those shots of her directly on it. It's always like...
If y'all just want it's okay.
She's
Homegirl's
staring.
she's got some eyes.
If you want to see just gorgeous photo of her, just go to her Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause look at her. Oh,
Oh,
And
does
she's
look
like the
good.
whitest little woman, but she is Argentinian.
Oh, is she?
Like, yeah, her dad's Argentinian. She was she's first generation American. Her mom's British and her dad's Argentinian. And she
Oh.
speaks 3 languages. It's like she's crazy.
She
Yeah.
was born in Miami, Florida.
She's incredible.
But she has a citizenship in the UK.
She's a Miami girl.
This movie would not work without her.
No.
As Margot.
No.
They would have had gotten something really good.
Yeah.
Like Emma Stone was originally cast as Margot.
Oh, really?
No.
Fun
I'm
fact.
glad it wasn't.
Yeah. No.
I don't want
like-
that cheeseburger, chef. like
Literally. She would have been giving her weird faces like, oh, did that guy just die?
Yeah. It wouldn't have worked. Yeah. This character is the precipice that the entire movie stands on.
Yeah.
She is supposed to be.
A representation of really every normal human
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
She's the everyman.
She has to be the most relatable person, and I really got it. Right away, I was like, "What the fuck?"
It was
with
right
her,
in that first scene.
This is so
when
over.
she's,
What?
When she's smoking the cigarette and he's like, "Oh my god!"
Right. So
Like,
He was like, "It'll ruin your palate."
'Cause-
Oh, fuck you.
So let's describe that scene. So you've got the group of people who's waiting to board on this boat, right? We meet Margot, obviously our main character. She's got a red hair. She's got bangs.
She's serving.
She looks great. She's wearing like a
silky
slip
pink,
dress,
yeah,
but like
it's
like
cute.
and she's got like kind of boots on.
Yeah, she's got
more casual boots. Right.
Which was a choice.
Well, I actually think that it's a strong costume design decision.
Yeah.
She's wearing a formal dress, but informal shoes.
And like, I know that girl.
It was either nice shoes or a nice dress.
Or I know the girl who wears... We all know the girl who wears sneakers with everything, or wears like her Converse.
Right. Very Bella at prom in Twilight.
Very,
Converse
I'm not like every other girl circa 2012.
Right,
like,
and that's what I was going to say. So she's got that like kind of Hayley Williams Paramore haircut. She's very alternative. She is the kind of... Outlier. She's more of like a cool girl. And she doesn't belong in this group of like hoity-toity, like... fancy rich people, which include her, we assume is her boyfriend.
Yeah, her date.
His name is Tyler. Tyler is played by... Who is the worst?
I hate him.
Tyler is played by Nicholas Hoult, who is, I think, fantastic. He's so funny in this. And... God, do you just hate him?
He's
my
just
God.
unbearable.
Like the casting, whoever the casting team for this movie was, like, phenomenal job.
Great job.
Because, like, he is so unlikable. And I've seen him in other things where I enjoy him. And it's just funny.
He doesn't want her to smoke because, like we said, it will, like, ruin her palate. He is the biggest foodie nerd
Oh my God.
of all cinema.
Yeah, he watches hour-long food videos on YouTube, like going into microbiology and chemistry, like
he knows everything about it, and he wants you to know that he knows everything.
Yeah, he's better than you.
Yeah, and this movie is, we'll go out and just say it. The whole theme, it's very obvious, is eat the rich.
It's a critique on class. Yeah,
it's classism, and food is very much a great metaphor for the class system.
Yeah.
And which we will get into as the movie goes on. There's a lot of themes into it. But yeah, Tyler's super rich, has very little empathy for other people, as a lot of rich people do.
And he only wants people to see him in it. Because we actually, I'm going to say right now, we don't know that he is rich, actually. But he wants everyone to believe this idea of himself that he believes. Right. He thinks he's this amazing food person. He thinks he's rich. He thinks he's cool. He wants everyone around him to agree with him. So he's going to throw it in their face.
He's performative.
Yeah, because he might not have that. He might have bought these tickets on a credit card. It's that he's $10,000 in debt already on.
True, that's true.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. So their boat arrives, and we kind of get the whole premise that this group of people, they are going to an island for an incredible fine dining experience. And Tyler tells her that it is $12.50 a head.
$1,250 for all of our
for a fucking
listeners,
meal.
not $12.50.
Oh yeah, not $12.50. Yeah,
$1,250 a person.
And she goes, "Okay, well, are we eating like a Rolex or something?"
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, just this is my thing. I know you probably don't get it, but just enjoy the experience, kind of. Just let loose." And she
support me.
Yeah, and she says, "Well, it's your dime. Like you're paying. Sounds good."
Exactly.
Keep that in mind, though, she said.
Yeah, hold that one.
Mm-hmm. So this is when we get a lot of exposition. We meet a lot of our other characters.
Yeah.
We've got the group of, like, douchebag, like, accountants, guys.
Like business dudes.
I actually don't even know what their job... Like, they're just douchebags. Like,
they work for the man who owns the island.
Yeah.
And so they're there to just kind of, like... fuck around.
Yeah,
and
spend daddy's money.
Yeah, they're spending daddy's money. There's no stakes for them. They're just there to do whatever they want, basically.
There's an old married couple who are regulars.
Yes.
They've, like, this is not their first time. They've gone multiple
The wife
times.
is Judith Light.
She's hilarious.
I love Judith Light and everything she's in. She, in my world, it's Ugly Betty. She is Mrs. Mead on Ugly Betty, and
she's so funny in that.
She's also in Transparent, which won, I think, a single Golden Globe,
And it's about
an Amazon
transparent.
It's a
Which
Prime
we support,
original.
but it's like that title. They were like...
They thought they were eating it up, but Judith Lang is the wife,
And she is wine drunk this whole movie.
Oh!
You can tell their marriage is on the rocks.
It's been on the rocks for a decade.
They barely talk to each other. She's really quiet, and
He's abrasive.
Yeah, they're funny.
Those are Richard and Anne, and the husband is played by Reed Birney.
I didn't know they had names.
I know, husband and wife. Yeah, that's what I call them in my notes. I was like, husband and wife. So then we also meet a very esteemed food critic, Miss Lillian Bloom, and her assistant.
Played by Janet McTeer.
And I thought that her assistant was Stanley Tucci. It's not Stanley Tucci.
No, it's not. I can
Paul
see how you thought that.
Alistine.
But he's giving Stanley Tucci.
He's giving Stanley Tucci.
Yeah.
He's very much giving Stanley Tucci to Meryl Streep and Julia.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very much that dynamic.
Exactly that dynamic.
Modernized.
Yeah, sure, exactly. And they're very just like constantly trying to like one up each other with how fancy they can describe whatever they're
Oh my
describing.
god, they're like thesauruses. They're pulling out SAT
words left and right. And we also are introduced to a famous actor. He's kind of like I would say an Adam Sandler type, or like a Jim Carrey. Like he was famous in the 90s. Had his big moment in the 90s.
Yeah.
Now he's a little older, and now he's not doing movies as regularly anymore. Mm-hmm. But he still has a big fan base.
And he's trying to make a comeback.
He wants
to get his fame
And he's
back.
played by John, how do you say his last name? Leguizamo?
Leguizamo.
Le Creuset.
Correct us in the comments if it's wrong, but he's hilarious in everything I've ever seen him in.
He's Sid the Sloth.
He's the voice of Sid.
That's iconic to me.
He has an assistant, his publicist or whatever.
Yeah.
She is so fucking funny. She has some of my favorite moments.
Oh, she has some of my favorite lines.
And they're fucking around.
She wants to quit. She literally we'll get to it, but her plan was, okay, I'll accompany you to this island because it'll be a great opportunity for me to resign.
Yeah.
And have that moment with you. And he does not want her to quit. He's like, please don't quit. I need you. I rely on you kind of thing. And she's, ready for...
She's like, I hate you.
Yeah, she's basically like, I need to get the fuck out of this job. You're crazy. So that's our, main cast.
Yep.
They journey to the island, and on the boat they are offered caviar oysters or something.
There's algae, because she makes the joke of pond scum, delicious.
Right.
And so it's algae and lemon, I think.
And they offer it to Margot, and she goes to eat it, and Tyler slaps her hand.
Yeah.
And he says, what are you doing? We have to take a picture of it first.
He is a phone eats first kind of bitch.
Yeah, yeah.
He really is.
He tries the oyster, the caviar, whatever the fuck it is. Again, I don't know any of this food. This is all bullshit food to me, so I didn't make note of what they're actually eating.
Yeah.
But it's all weird artsy food, rich people food. And she eats it, or he eats it, and he's like, wow, this is the greatest thing I've ever put in my mouth. What do you think? And she's like, it's all right.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So they arrive at the island, and this is when we meet our icon of the movie.
Icon alert!
My favorite character, Miss Elsa.
I love her.
Who's played, scrumptiously by Hong Chow.
Oh
My god, she eats this fucking roll up. How would you guys describe Elsa? She's very
I know she takes that job so fucking seriously that
it's her life.
That if anything is even off by a centimeter, she
Panic
will
attack.
Yeah.
kill someone.
She
runs a tight
She
ship.
has a smile on her face.
Yeah.
But you are terrified of her. And we see right away her kind of perfectionism.
Because when Margot, they're checking in, she's like,
Who
the
are
fuck
you?
are you?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Are you... She says, I'm assuming you're Miss Westervelt.
Yes.
And Tyler's like,
Change of plans.
there was a change of plans. This isn't Miss Westervelt. This is Margot.
Well, he doesn't know her last name.
He's like, Margot...
This is Miss... And then she goes, hi, I'm Margot.
And Elsa is literally like pissed the fuck off.
She's shaking. She
Oh, no.
foaming at the mouth.
That's not right. That wasn't the plan. And she's like, okay, sure. We're welcome to have you. Right this way. You know, like, you can tell, like, this completely threw her whole game off. I mean, we're assuming it was, like, Tyler's
girlfriend. He does. He mentions that they broke up. Because
okay.
When the shop is like, when we get to win,
the other girl,
Margaret,
yeah.
they're like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Because everyone's kind of...
No, it was his girlfriend.
And we think that maybe they just started dating. Like, Margot and Tyler are maybe newly dating. So then we get this, like, montage of Elsa leading the group through the tour of the island. They walk along the beach. She points out, she says, there's scallops that are actually being harvested this very moment, and you will be eating them tonight.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Very nature
They, like,
walk.
all this, they basically, she's showing them how, like,
everything is made
here.
On the island.
The island is gorgeous.
Like, if you eat here, you're eating only food from this island.
The island.
And that was the one part, like, everything's very richy, eat the rich. But that is the one thing, like, that is awesome.
Fascinating.
Like, I would love to be able to go to a place where everything I ate came from, like, the immediate area.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It is all pretty cool until she shows them where the kitchen team lives.
Oh.
And it's a cult house.
Yeah.
It's just like a bunker. Like,
it's like an army bunker, basically.
Yeah.
It's like
the barracks. It's
army barracks.
Yeah.
It's just like the beds are just right next to each other.
And they're like cot beds.
And then there's an open toilet.
Yeah, an open
And then
toilet.
all of a sudden, like, next to someone's bed is the toilet. So at 3 a.m. when you're taking a piss, someone's head is inches away
right
from
there. Yeah, it's
crazy.
very bizarre, and it's the first hint that something is up.
Or this place is just really weird.
Yeah,
Like,
it's cold.
Well, she gives
it's a
an
cult.
excuse that the meal goes so long, and we're here until 2 a.m.
it wouldn't make sense because they have to be back at like 8 to start prepping. Like,
And it's like, but if you guys are working for like the most esteemed culinary facility, well, why aren't you given like proper housing? Like, there's no reason why they have to live in this like cult room. But
even
they do.
like little studios, like tiny house studios. Like if I'm paying $12.50 a head, you can afford to build some little tiny houses on property.
Right?
It's crazy,
and they're all kind of like, well, why do we feel the need to like live like this? And Elsa's like, well, we're a family. We gel. And Margot kind of under her breath, she's like, they gel. Like, kind of like, you know, making a sarcastic comment. And Elsa overhears her and she just looks right at her and she goes, we gel. Like, okay. She's literally like,
I got it.
Don't fucking joke about that, bitch.
We
like,
do.
This is serious.
Very serious.
Also, do you notice that the 2 regulars are not there?
Oh, really?
They skipped the tour.
Oh, they skipped the tour?
Because they've done the tour so many times.
Interesting.
When you follow Margot in, like when the camera shoots when they're walking in, they're already seated.
Oh, look at you. You're a little menu expert.
I noticed it last night. Like, last night was probably my 4th watch of this movie. It's like, that was one of those things I noticed, like...
That's fascinating. I mean, that makes sense, yeah. If they've been so many times, like, why would you...
Because it seems that this tour is customary, like...
And
because it's supposed to be once in a lifetime. Like, so why wouldn't they show you the whole island? Because you won't come back.
Right. But, you know, knowing the context of those people and knowing how little of a shit they give about, like...
I would be surprised if they skipped the tour every time.
Yeah, exactly. So Elsa explains the kind of, like, daily minutia of the kitchen cult, basically, and it's not a joke to her.
No.
And someone asks her, well, do you ever get burnt out? Like, what happens if you get burnt out? And she goes, burnt out? Bitch. She's not having any of that.
No.
She's like, this is fucking...
This is
serious.
Everything to me.
This is my life, bitch.
Don't joke about that.
Don't fucking joke about that.
Don't joke about that.
Don't joke about that.
They pass by Chef's cottage, which is like a, big, like cabin.
2-story cabin.
Yeah.
Like, it put that little barracks to shame.
Yeah, exactly. And
Thought we gelled, Elsa.
Yeah.
Tyler's like, oh, is that Chef's house? Can we go see it?
Elsa's like, no.
Yeah.
No one goes to Chef's house. No one's allowed in Chef's
Yeah,
house.
she's like, I'm not even allowed in Chef's house. So that's interesting. Then they enter the kitchen. And this is our main setting of the movie.
It's a giant door with a hinge in the middle, and it opens 360. I had to point that out. Like, it's so...
This movie has amazing design. Like
it's such a sleigh.
Everything...
It's very, like, high-end. Everything is as, like, expensive as it probably can be. Because the kitchen, when you get to the kitchen, it's a huge kitchen.
The set decorator and the set designers, like, went the fuck off.
And so,
It's so...
When you go through the swivel door, you get to the dining area, and there's... if you're walking in to your right, the entire wall is just a giant, huge window that overlooks, like, the water.
The beach, yeah.
The beach. And then to the left is where the kitchen is, and it's an open kitchen, so you're able to see them cooking. Mm-hmm. And then there's kind of, like, a little bit of a space between the tables in the kitchen just for where the chef kind of presents.
Give his, like, speeches.
Is it stepped up? Isn't the kitchen also elevated?
Yeah, there's, like, a little...
I don't know why that's important to me, but I'm like, you know, because it kind of makes the chef seem so much
taller.
grander.
Yes, there is, like, a little step.
A little...
Yeah.
Because there's, like, there's kind of, like, there's, like, a little entryway into the kitchen, and it's just, like, kind of, like, countertops, like marble countertops. Then there's a little step, and then you're into the kitchen.
Because it kind of makes him seem more grandiose, because
Right.
I'm literally...
Because he's not, like, super tall. Ralph Fiennes isn't super tall,
No.
but he appears very tall.
Like, in this movie, he's a big personality and a big man.
Yeah.
Like...
He's definitely foreboding and always, standing over people.
And I feel like a lot of the shots are from... like, you see him a lot from the kitchen's perspective, so it's his back.
Yeah.
And that angle really makes him look just giant.
Yeah, he is definitely the head honcho.
On the wall that you would see when walking in, there's just a giant stone, like, fireplace. But it's, like, a modern-looking fireplace. Everything's very modern, very, like, how, like, high-end restaurants kind of are, where sometimes they're so high-end, they kind of, in a way, like, the set design is gorgeous, but it also kind of lacks that personality a bit.
Exactly, which I think
is a point, which is a very, I think...
ties into the theme.
Which ties in, and again, we'll get into it, because there's a point that, like, it gets very much where you're like, oh, fuck, these people, like, everyone in this movie is fucking insane.
Yeah.
But, like, the kitchen and the chef.
It's all like, if you don't get it, you get it now. We're going to spell it out for you. If you didn't get it earlier.
Yes, it's very much like a moment where you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Everything I thought, now I know is true.
Right. And they all take their seats, and Elsa tells them, please do not take pictures of the food tonight. Chef does not like that.
She uses an SAT
It's like a
word.
rule. It is a rule.
And she uses a fear, like, she's like, the food memory should only be a ferial or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, another SAT word. Like, I felt like I was studying.
And so Tyler starts geeking the fuck out. He drags Margot up to, like, the kitchen, and he starts interviewing this, like, kitchen staff guy.
And he's making, like,
Who does not care about him.
He's making, like, a powdered snow out of, like, I don't even know what he said. And he's like, oh, did you use, like... He's basically, like, throwing out all these, like, term words.
Equipment. Did you use the
this?
emulsifying
And
Pico jet with the...
Whatever the fuck.
And the chef is like... Or the cook is like, obviously.
Like, because he's currently using the machine.
Dude, I'm literally making...
And this is the first time we hear, like, one of the people from the kitchen staff is talking. They all talk like they're in a cult. Like, he's like, no, Mr. So-and-so, whatever Tyler's last name
he, like, knows...
He knows Tyler's
He's like,
name.
how did you know my name?
Yeah, he's like, we know everybody's name here. And they all kind of, like, talk like this. Because they're all, as we will learn, fucking brainwashed.
Yeah.
It's a fucking cult.
It's a cult.
But it's like one of those things, like, he's like, and again, I'm already seeing the cracks as we're talking about, because it's like, if he had actually ever been to, like, a fine dining establishment like Hawthorne, he would know that every time they have new guests, they would teach everyone their names, because the whole point is you're paying $12.50 a head, you better know my name, I'm a big deal. Yeah. So, like, Tyler is shocked that they know his name, but the other rich people in the room would expect it.
It's true.
And so I think it's funny that, like, every
I like
time
your
Tyler's...
theory that Tyler, like, isn't rich. He probably, maybe, like, got a credit card and is using that to pay for this.
Like, every time I think about Tyler...
he's obsessed with Chef, as we will learn.
Yeah.
He's a super fan.
He's not a prestige person. He's not a money person. He is a food person, and he is in love with Chef Julian.
Yeah. And the guy's like, you should take your seat. we're about to serve. And I was like, oh, they're about to serve it. Okay.
How has serving impacted your life? I don't know. Ask them.
Ask them. Yeah, ask this bitch. So the chef appears.
And
This is when we meet Chef Julian is his name.
Julian Slowick.
Chef Slowick.
Chef Slowick.
Yes, chef.
And we see him like, he kind of enters to the kitchen and he starts like, giving instructions to the kitchen workers. And Tyler sees him and starts like fangirling, basically.
Almost faints.
Yeah.
At the sight
He's like,
of
oh my
it.
god, it's Chef. Oh.
Like, think kid meeting Cinderella at Disney World. Like,
Yeah. And Margot is like, okay. Like,
I've seen a lot of chefs in my
yeah,
life.
like, calm down. She obviously is out of her element.
He obviously didn't tell her
Yeah.
very much. Like, that's the thing is, like, he's so excited, but yet did not relay any of that information to her.
Which makes sense later.
Which makes sense.
Yeah,
But
later.
it's funny because you're just like, way to keep her in the dark.
Yeah. And you're also kind of like, what do they have in common? Like, why are they together? Like,
Yeah.
it makes you question their relationship. How did they meet? Which,
We'll get into
Well,
it.
yeah, no.
So they're all kind of preparing for the first course, and so everyone's talking. We get a montage of each table and how they're interacting with each other. The rich asshole guys continue to just kind of be rich asshole guys.
Very frat bro.
Frat bro. This is when the actor's publicist is like, I'm gonna quit. Hey, I'm looking for a new. She gets another opportunity.
And then he asked her what she would do there, and she was like, well, it's on the publishing side, so I would help publish
And she
things.
says,
Like, she's no
She has
clue.
no idea. But
starts
she's just
giving
like,
him,
this
a
is a
bunch
way
of like
out.
keys. She's like, here's the keys to your house in LA. Here's the one to your apartment in New York. Here's the one to the apartment in New York your wife doesn't know about.
She's great.
Her lines are so. I
She's
really
maybe
liked
one of
her.
my favorite characters. And he is just sad. He's like, no, you're my favorite
And he's
assistant.
also-
Yeah, he's like, oh my god, I won't, I'll miss every meeting with that. Like,
Yeah.
She also is under the impression that he is friends with the chef.
Oh yeah,
Right, that's true.
We forgot that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said like, oh, we're good
We're
friends,
good
not
friends.
just
Yeah.
like,
We're-
I know him.
I know him.
We're good.
No.
friends.
And he likes to brag,
Very showy.
He'll remind you that he was in,
Calling Dr. Sunshine.
yeah. Which was his big movie, I guess, that he started in the 90s.
His version of Click, Adam Sandler's Click.
Sure, yeah.
His-
Which was his, critically not acclaimed movie. Yeah.
But went platinum in my house.
Christopher Walken's in that movie.
Yeah.
I do like that movie.
Click.
I liked it as a kid. If I go back, it's probably terrible.
Yeah.
I say let's watch it tonight.
And the food critics we see are just being snobby little cunts about everything.
Everything. They're throwing out words like nouveau and
Yeah.
and the architecture is very stoic yet very bright, which is a fun dichotomy. Like they say stuff like that.
Just
it's
bullshit.
Like, you're just making
I think
up words.
At one point, she's like, "It's like we're living in a biome," and he's like, "Yeah, like an ecosystem."
She's like, "No,
a biome is better.
He's like, "Yeah,
Biome
you're
is
right.
better.
You're right."
Biome
He
is
just
better.
enables everything.
Yeah.
He's like
spineless.
just
He's
kisses her ass.
spineless.
Yeah, he lives to kiss her ass. And again, the old couple, awkward, cold, barely engaging each other.
Oh, they're so whatever in this first scene. Like you see them and they say like 3 words and then it pans away.
She's like, I think she's like, sips her wine. She's like, the wine's good. He's like, yeah.
and then that's it. And then it's next scene.
All right.
All right.
Next cue card, honey. Next cue card. Like
Next car, honey, next car.
They are served the appetizer.
I'm looking this up because the food actually does have meaning. So the
Yeah.
appetizer is the
amuse-bouche. It's called an
And
amuse.
so apparently this is a dish that is not ordered. The chef decides that
Yeah.
you are getting it. Like it's traditionally you don't order it, like the chef gives it. So basically this is him letting you know I'm in control here. What I say goes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
They always have those
Down.
beautiful cue cards. That is one of the things I love because
Yeah.
there's so much storytelling in the course cards too.
True, yeah, there's always a title card every time a
Course 1,
is
course 2,
introduced.
and because each course has a name too.
Yeah.
The amuse-bouche and the palate cleanser are the only 2 without a name.
Gotcha.
Because those are just because there are restaurants who are do these 12-course meal experiences and they have amuse-bouches and a palate cleanser halfway through. So those are just like staples. Everything else usually has a name.
This movie taught me a lot about like fine dining because
Yeah.
I don't know shit. I'm so poor. Like I have never been to like an experience like this.
I've just seen things like this on Food Network.
Gotcha.
And they are kind of fun to watch because they're just like this movie. There is a story to the courses. There's an
Right.
idea. There's a theme because it's a dining experience, not just a meal.
Gotcha.
And it's funny that this movie's called The Menu and there is no physical menu to be seen.
Not until the end.
Not till the end.
And Tyler takes a picture of it.
And Tyler takes a picture. And that was...
Miss Elsa.
Oh, she saw that.
She notices.
Well, his shutter's on.
Yeah.
It makes the shutter set like
Yeah.
like it's rule number 1, dude. And
Put it
you
on
didn't-
silent,
You didn't even
bitch.
put it on silent.
And
Idiot.
Tyler thinks that he is above all the rules, which we will get into more, but he doesn't think any of the rules apply to him.
Well, and he doesn't care about following the rules unless Chef sees him break a rule.
True.
And he's like, Elsa, I don't care what she thinks of me,
Yeah,
but
she's just like an orderly.
Yeah.
Chef is the one.
I'm
who
better
should
than
impress.
her.
Yeah. He goes on this whole tangent about like how food is so important to me and it's my life, and he's just being annoying. He is unbearable, honestly. Like one of the most unlikable characters I think maybe ever written in cinema. And Nicholas Hoult does a fabulous job
great
of portraying
job.
He's so cute too.
He
like
is cute.
you want to like him, but every word that comes out of his mouth, it's horribly obnoxious.
Oh my god.
The worst. This is when Chef does his iconic clap. Yeah. And it kind of, and everyone like goes to attention. Like the whole kitchen staff, all the orderlies like,
I saw
Jolt
this movie in theaters when it came out, and so knowing it was supposed to be a horror movie, I was scared out of my life because I never see, if I see a horror movie, it has to be in the comfort of my own home. But nothing scary had happened yet, and that first clap, everyone in the theater let out a collective like, because like we'd been building this tension for so long.
Yeah.
That
And it's like the first scare.
It's the first big thing.
Yeah.
And so I just remember like,
because that's the thing too.
the movie's not scary. It doesn't
No.
have. It's more
I
psychological.
would say it's
more-
barely a horror movie to be
It's,
honest.
it's more of like a mystery thriller kind of vibe. But that clap, like I remember being scared out of my mind because so startled.
Good sound design. And he gives his first little speech, kind of welcoming everybody. He's creepy. He's commanding. He also has this like weirdly somber and like introspective vibe about him, like right off the bat. Mm-hmm. You can tell that everything he says has a deep sentimental meaning to him.
You'll
And-
never catch him slip. He does.
Yeah.
He doesn't missay one word in his life.
And it all has like a deeper meaning. It's all kind of existential. It's kind of sad, to be honest. Which we'll get into,
with the fourth course, we'll get into that.
Yeah, then we're served the first like kind of weird bullshit course, whatever it is.
Is it like
it's
the
the
island?
island. It's like rocks and leaves and shit, basically.
Yeah, and the scallops. The scallops are on the first course.
Yeah.
The first dish was called the island.
Okay,
and
yeah.
it consists solely of ingredients that are from the island.
That are native to the island.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like he's just kind of inspired by what he's seeing around him.
Yeah.
And Elsa's kind of like walking around and like listening in on everybody's combos. The rich assholes have absolutely no respect for like the work that goes into the food.
Oh my god, yeah.
They're just talking shit about it basically, and Elsa kind of like listens into them, and she gives like a little, she gives like the stink eye.
Like that's the one good thing about Tyler is he cares about the art of
Well,
cooking.
he cares too much.
He cares too much, but all these other people in the room are like, whatever.
They don't give two shits. They're just like, I'm rich and this is expensive, so
Ha ha ha.
perfect. Yeah. Then Chef introduces the next serving.
The breadless bread plate.
And it just basically has
Sauces.
sauces with
Spread,
no bread.
smears.
And this is a commentary on how, oh, you all are paying $12.50 for this meal. You're so rich you don't need bread because bread is usually
A symbol of the poor.
A symbol of the poor. It's
And so you are too rich by default to have bread because we've saved that for the poor people.
Yep.
So you don't deserve bread,
Yeah.
he says. And they get pissed.
And they are mad. I mean, I would be too.
I would be too.
But
Stevie loves bread.
Stevie loves
When
bread.
it comes to bread, I am
You are
Oprah
such
Winfrey when
a
it comes to bread.
slut for bread.
I love bread.
I know
I
this
love
would
bread.
piss you the fuck off.
Oh, I would have left. I'd be like, no, I'm done. I'm done.
Well, you wouldn't have left, but we'll get to
I
that.
wouldn't have gotten there. So I mean, but if I could have gotten out of there
Oh, okay. But also with the breadless
because I would have been mad the whole time. I would have insulted everything he brings
You
out
would
because
have.
it's nasty.
With the breadless plate, you also get a good shot of Lillian and her assistant. But the emulsion is kind of split, and that's just unprofessional in a setting like this
Right.
to have. And Elsa again is in the corner, like,
Yeah, she takes notes.
Oh, okay. The emulsion is and she immediately tells Chef, and you see him in the back of the kitchen, like about ready to pull a gun out.
Yeah.
Because they go on, I swear it's like 5-minute conversation about this broken emulsion.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and it's
She's
literally,
like, no, this is this is genius.
it's a teaspoon. Like, she's complaining that a teaspoon of emulsion is broken.
Right.
Girl, get a grip.
And then, like, a few minutes later,
They bring her a whole bowl.
the hugest thing. And they do this a lot, and it keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, they
It's the hat from Scary Movie 3.
Yeah, like, it keeps getting
I think
bigger.
it's like 4 total servings of this
Yeah.
emulsion, and it's just like, by the end it feels like a 5-gallon bucket.
Just as like a fuck you to
it's
her. Yeah.
ridiculous.
To be like, oh, you're gonna make a comment about this? Well, here, fuck you. Here's
Yeah.
a big ass one. It's great. The business assholes are like, oh, we need bread.
Oh, we will be getting bread.
I thought this
and
place was known for
gluten-free for
bread.
my friend.
Yeah.
And Elsa's like, no.
Oh, this is one of my favorite parts. She goes, oh, well, because at first she's like, no, you're not getting bread. That's chef's orders. And he goes, well, I mean, do you realize who we are? Like, we work for Doug Varick. And then in the cuntiest whisper possible, she says, you will eat less than you desire and more than you deserve.
What?
Like,
And that's the first time you're like,
Oh,
because she's
What the
putting his
fuck?
napkin on him. And that's why he just
yeah.
serves.
She, like, leans
'cause
right
not
into his ear.
only is her face closed, her whole body is like,
Yeah.
like crouching on him. Like,
yeah.
And it's just like,
it's kind of like
Oh,
a power move. You're like,
yeah.
oh,
Wait, yeah. Like, she really went there. And it's creepy. It's kind of our first, like, oh.
But it's such a it's a very it's such a good comment.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
basically just saying,
Because it also went with the whole
basically
story.
Say, you're never going to be satisfied.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're always going to have,
Which
But
goes
you-
along
but
with the
you're-
idea
which is-
of the menu.
which is so, but like basically being like, you're never going to be satisfied with having everything.
Yeah.
Margot isn't interested in eating the fucking sauce plate at
Yeah.
all. And the chef gets so butthurt.
He comes over, he's like,
Oh.
yeah, she's like, there's no food. She's like,
He's like, you need to eat the food.
I thought we weren't supposed to eat.
Yeah, she's like, yeah.
Because at the beginning he's like, make me one promise. You won't eat.
Right.
You will taste.
Taste.
You will enjoy. You will
Enjoy.
savor, but you will not eat.
Yeah.
And so then he says, you should be eating. And she goes, I thought I wasn't supposed to eat.
Yeah.
Oh! Okay.
She
Mother
clapped.
Quake alert. Mother Quake alert.
Mother
Find shelter immediately,
he
everyone.
knew
Like,
right then and there, he was like, fatality, she got me.
Yeah.
oh,
He was like,
there was no coming back from that.
gagged him.
oh,
then he's
Rue
like-
just clocked
Because
me.
then he's like, oh,
She
you
just
know what I
slapped
mean.
me.
And he's like, you know what I meant.
Smart ass.
Yeah.
kind of thing.
But it's like, you'll never recover.
But she stands her ground, and she's
Yeah.
like, you don't get to tell me what to do. Like, just because
She's
you're
like,
the
I'm-
chef.
she's not impressed. She's like, I don't.
She's like, I'm paying you. Or like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm being served. You're the one who's
Yeah.
serving me.
You don't
So-
tell me what to do with my food.
Yeah.
Because then she's like, well, I don't, and I'm saving room because I don't want to get full. I want to have all the courses. And he goes, well, I've planned it out so
I designed it so that it would be perfectly palatable and you wouldn't get full. Like,
Which doesn't make any sense.
doesn't make
No.
sense.
but
Maybe
he
I
has-
had gastric bypass. You don't know.
You don't know me. You don't know my life. And because he just has this ego, you know, he's the boss. He's
Yeah.
in charge, and he's used to people doing.
Whatever he says.
Whatever he wants.
Whatever he says.
And this, like the fact that someone would like stand up to him gives him like a heart palpitation, and he goes over, he like places a hand on this like drunk woman who's been like chilling on the corner this whole time. This is his mother.
it's his
And
mother.
he kind of like he needs to like.
I'm going back to mommy for
Mommy,
help.
Yeah.
Mommy, someone was mean to me.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm a good chef.
Pretty much, yeah.
Please.
And Tyler's so mad at her. He's like,
Oh.
you humiliated me. Like,
And she's like,
He does kind of. Oh my god!
oh, why would you do that?
Why would you talk to Chef
And she's
like
kind of
that?
like-
She's like, this guy's a fucking prick. Like, what do you
stupid.
mean?
Yeah, I don't give a shit. This isn't fair.
Don't take
and
it
he
so
basically
seriously.
then gets really assholey. It was like, oh, remember, he's paying for this meal.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Yeah.
you, me.
Yeah.
Oh. And she's like, whatever.
We see the old couple chatting, and the wife is like, where do we know her? They're talking about Margot.
Yeah. Where do we know her? And and the husband is immediately doesn't let her get that period out of her sentence. Goes, we don't know her.
Yeah.
Like basically, like, stop talking about
It's
it.
defensive. And she's like, but she reminds me of Claire, which their daughter's name, I guess, is Claire.
Claire, yeah.
And he goes, she's nothing like our Claire.
Yeah, like
And change the...
he's
like,
biting
damn.
at the end of her sentence. Like doesn't even
Yeah.
let her get breathing room.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
Like, dude, if you're gonna lie, play into it. Because me, I would be like, well, I would turn around.
He didn't even
and then,
turn
like,
around.
like,
He didn't even pretend to
no.
look at her.
And then she'd be like, she looks like her. Yeah, I bet. I don't know.
He's like, no, and shut the fuck up.
And you're stupid and I hate you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Chef introduces the next course. It is called Memory.
Memory.
Oh, and so, okay, yes. This is...
This is when we get this loaded, sad-ass backstory.
this is
Which is like another moment where I'd be like, I would not want to eat. I would be so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But this is also where we start to realize things are not what they seem. Because,
Sure.
like, the first three would be, like, very traditional. The breadless bread plate, stupid, but I could see some pretentious chef in real life doing that.
Yeah.
I bet a pretentious chef watched this movie and was like, oh, that was so good. But this is where, like, oh, what is happening? Like,
Yeah.
but it's not so deep enough that they can't laugh it off. That they can be like, oh, well, he's just crazy and trying something
Right.
new.
This is like, this is like personal. Like,
Yeah.
this is like weird. So what he says is that when he was growing up, he had this like drunken, abusive father, and
Came home.
it was Taco Tuesday, and he goes, every Tuesday was Taco Tuesday.
And the whole kitchen staff goes,
in unison.
I thought that was great.
Oh, hilarious.
Yeah. The cult vibes are so funny.
They
in
were
this.
so good.
Because it's so, like, they're not even trying to hide that it's a cult. Like, right away, they're like, this is a cult.
Yep. We don't care.
Yeah.
We know.
And he says that one day his dad came home super drunk and tried to strangle his mother with like a phone cord.
Yeah.
And he took some kitchen scissors.
And stabbed him in the thigh to get him to stop.
Yeah.
And then he was
Maybe I
like,
should have stabbed
he was
him.
like, oh, looking back, maybe I should have stabbed him in the throat.
throat.
And they're all just kind of like,
What the fuck? Because it's played as, like, he's trying to, like, be humorous, but it's like, what?
And so then it's a thigh of like what is
chicken
it?
thigh.
Chicken thigh.
and then
With a
Little pair of
then every
scissors.
single like cook then pierces an individual one with a
It's like they're like
little pair of
embroidery
scissors.
scissors.
Yeah, like little
Yeah.
embroidery scissors.
Yeah.
It's really kind of like it's kind of funny.
Yeah, 'cause it's supposed to be
it's
like-
such a sight gag.
It's supposed to be like the toothpick that you
Yes,
would put in.
yes.
Yeah.
No, it's hilarious.
It's a very funny gag.
And there's also some handmade
Tortillas.
tortillas.
Tortillas
Because-
deliciosa.
Taco Tuesday. She loved a Taco Tuesday, and she never left her ETB card.
She loved avocado.
That was weird for me.
That was weird for me.
That was weird for me.
She liked the soft shell.
She liked the soft shell.
Carne
and
asada.
and guacamole. Guacamole is expensive.
Expensive.
And
She wasn't gonna leave the card. That was weird for me.
that was weird for me.
She found her ETB card. And on a Taco Tuesday, she never left the card because she loved to celebrate Taco Tuesday. She liked the soft shell with carne asada. That's her favorite with guacamole. And guacamole is expensive, so she's not gonna leave without her card. That was weird for me.
The tortillas have images
They're laser
engraved,
cut. It's a new laser cut machine.
which I thought was funny because I work in a business that like uses a laser cutting machine. Laser cutting machines have radiation, and you would not be able to eat something that's been laser cut. You would literally get like cancer. So,
oh my god.
fun fact.
Well,
But we
with
can
what's
suspend
going to
it.
happen in this movie, I don't think we really care.
I don't think they're looking forward to that.
But each of the like table has their own unique images engraved on their tortillas.
Yeah.
So we'll go through them. So the food critic, on hers, it's
Restaurants that she had reviewed that closed.
closed down because she gave them a bad review.
And the assistant still tries to kiss her ass, and it's like, well, maybe it's just a fun walk down memory lane. And it's like, dude,
she's kind of like a little offended.
Taken back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's a little offended. She's like, wait, I thought I was cool with Chef.
Yeah,
Like I put him on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn later that she credits herself
for
his fame.
For his fame. We see the old couple at their table. It's
Happy
tortillas.
anniversary.
It's happy anniversary, and then it's pictures from their different anniversaries throughout the year.
When they've been to Hawthorne. They're pictures from Hawthorne. So
And-
when he got the melanoma removed and...
Right.
Yeah.
Different ones. And that's all we see at first.
And then we move on.
We cut to at Tyler and Margot's table.
And it's pictures of him taking pictures of the
picture that he had just taken.
Oh my god. He's like, oh my god, I think I've offended
Chef's gonna be mad at me.
And he's Chef hates me.
Do you think I should apologize? And she's like,
She's
"Probably
literally
just a
like,
joke."
oh my god, calm down. Like,
She's like, dude, it's probably just a joke.
yeah.
Yeah, it feels very like, gotcha, you broke rule number 1.
For the actor, it's a poster from his movie Calling Dr. Sunshine, which he admits, dumb movie, but
Dumb script, but fun to work on.
I had a good time shooting it. Yeah. The accountant assholes, theirs
like-
are documents,
like-
tax documents.
Yeah, basically showing that they've been like,
adding money, like saying they've performed services that they haven't, so
Haven't.
they can get the tax money
Yeah.
back. Or
Tax fraud.
something like that.
And they're like, oh my god, this is not good. They're like, oh shit, they're shook. They call Miss Elsa.
They call...
And we get my
After
favorite
the
scene.
first... I'm just like, after he got that whispered in his ear of like, you will eat whatever, I would have never called her over again.
Right.
I would have been too scared of what she was going to say to me next.
Because I think Elsa likes this table because she knows these guys are like the ones she can just be so
Yeah.
smart assy to.
This is when we get my favorite scene in the movie.
What the hell are these?
these are
These are tortillas. Tortillas muy deliciosas.
No, but what are these?
They are tortillas.
So good!
What do you want me to say?
And then she kind of goes on to explain. She's very matter of fact. She's like, oh yeah, these are images that depict your company's tax records and other documents that show how you have been making invoices with false charges.
And then another great line is he goes, how did you get these? And she goes, Chef never reveals his secrets or his recipes.
Yeah.
And then
a magician
and
never
then-
reveals his tricks.
Yeah.
The guys are like, you're fucked. Like, we'll have this place closed by morning. And Elsa says, oh, that won't be necessary. Enjoy.
Which is like, what does she mean by that?
She just like walks away
Yeah.
so cunty.
But like when you know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen, it's so fucking
good.
funny.
Then at the old couple's table, they're like, again, going through the tortillas. She's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is from our honeymoon and da-da-da-da, this is from our anniversary. Then she finds one and it's him
And
with another woman. And she goes, who's this woman? And we see the tortilla. He's like, oh, I don't know. Nobody.
it must be a joke.
Just be kind of a joke. And the like face is kind of obscured. It's
Yeah.
he's like eating out with some woman at like a restaurant.
Yeah.
But we can't see who it is.
Yeah.
But it's the first sign of like, he's been cheating on her.
Yeah.
And Margot is talking to Tyler. She says, well, if you're so upset about the tortillas, then just have the food taken back.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy. And she kind of goes to, like, call
And
somebody.
he's like, no, you don't send the food back.
He snaps his fingers in her face.
Oh, I would have bit his.
And she
fucking
literally
off.
said, did you
Did you
snap your
just
fingers?
snap at me? He goes, shut up, you child.
I would never let a white man talk to me like that.
Can you believe that?
Ever.
She goes, you cannot speak to me like that. And he goes, well, newsflash, I'm the one paying, so just shut up and eat. Damn. Hate him.
Hate him.
Hate him. You're like, okay, when is this going to turn into, like, a horror movie? Because we need him to die. Like,
Yeah, I want him dead.
Yeah.
I want him dead.
But this is such a slow burn, though. It really, like, it doesn't turn horror for a while.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
we'll get into. I think Stevie and I are maybe on the same page.
Yeah.
With
It kind of.
our opinions on it. Yeah. We'll get there. Yeah. So Margot is just, like, pissed at him. And she's like, you know what? I need to excuse myself. And
I'm leaving.
yeah. She goes into, like, the hallway. And at the end of the hallway, there's, like, this silver door with, like, this, like, kind of ornate pattern on it. And she is assuming, like, I guess it's the exit. So she goes out it. Elsa appears.
She's like, where are you going?
No. What are you doing?
She's like, I'm just looking for the restroom. She's like, it's this way.
It's this way.
She's like, oh, cool. She's like, but what's behind this silver door? She's like,
That's related.
She goes, something very special.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what she says.
She's like, okay. And so she goes to the bathroom and she goes to like, she opens a window. She's trying to smoke a cigarette so she can like
De-stress.
She needs a moment.
Guess who just barges into the bathroom?
Chef! I'm
She's
shitting.
like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Like,
She's like, I'm literally in the bathroom. Like, you can't be in here. And he goes, why aren't you eating my food? It wounds me that you won't eat my food. She's basically like, fuck off. Like,
Dude, I
just
don't really...
I don't have to eat your food. Like,
And then he's like, who are you? You shouldn't be. Who are you?
Who are you? He like is so insistent. He wants to know.
And then she says, "Oh, I'm
Margot.
I'm Margot."
And he's like, I know a lot of Margos.
You don't look like a Margot.
You're not a Margot.
And he's like, after she says, "Oh, I'm from here and I'm from here,"
she says she's from
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
And he's just like,
he's like, you happy? She's like, do you want the address to my mom's fucking trailer park too?
And he's basically like, that's who you want people to think you are.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He's very much
but
like,
who
you're
are
not,
you really? And then he says, you don't belong here.
Yeah.
You weren't a part of the plan.
And this is the first real eerie moment. Yeah. This is like...
Because he's so scared. I mean, Ray finds Voldemort, right? Yeah. He's just got the most intimidating energy I have ever seen on
Because
camera.
the taco shells are weird, and then you have this very dark lit room, and sometimes you're only...
It's just like... But again, that's where I'll kind of get into it, is like, this movie has a lot of exposition, and I kind of got it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm kind of like...
That's my issue.
Either I needed more... I needed more kills, or I needed like...
And I'm such a horror fan, and Keaton, I understand you're not like the biggest horror fan. You don't like scary, and so I understand. And this movie, I will say, I know, has a huge fan base.
Yeah.
Like, you either think this movie's fine, which is kind of like the camp I'm in, or you fucking ride for this movie.
That's me. Like, I'm like, this, there's not enough exposition. Like, this is the perfect amount. I'm like, we're not in exposition right now. We are in inciting incident. We're moving up plot mountain. I can see how with traditional horror,
it's because it's supposed to be a horror movie.
It doesn't follow that same map. This is exposition in the horror world, but like to me, as someone who's away from horror, I'm like, no, like this is what we needed to know. If I didn't have this, I wouldn't care in the end.
My biggest qualm, and we'll kind of get into it more as we kind of as the plot progresses, is that it just doesn't really pop off in the way I want it to.
Yeah.
It's all this build up and then like medium payoff, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I still enjoy it, and I still think it's really fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, and yeah, he's being really creepy, and she's just like, okay, get the fuck out of my way.
And basically pushes past him.
And then he goes out and he introduces the next meal, which is called
The Mess.
The Mess.
And they're like laying out like a tart, and then they're putting like kind of like herbs and like branches around it,
olive branches,
to create like a presentation.
And they introduce a sous chef named Jeremy, who had written a letter to Chef after he got out of culinary school.
Yeah.
And said, my life goal is to come and work for you. Yeah. That's like where I see myself. It's my passion. And
that was like 4 years ago or something. That was like a few years ago.
And Chef goes on this tangent of like how Jeremy will never be as good as him. Like, he's like, right, Jeremy? And Jeremy's like, yes, Chef. And
Jeremy's kind of like tearing up.
He's crying.
Yeah. And he's like, Jeremy will always have to face the reality of being a creative whose goal is trying to please people he will never truly know. And he's like, do you like this life, Jeremy, working for me? No, Chef. And he goes, and do you want my life? Not my position, not my talent, but my life. Do you want it? And he goes, no, Chef. And then Chef kisses Jeremy on both cheeks, and then Jeremy pulls out a gun and shoots himself in the fucking mouth.
In the mouth. Right through
and everyone's like, what the fuck?
And I was so excited. When first watching this movie, I was like, here we go. Finally, we're in horror movie territory. I was fucking ready.
It's
Yeah.
jarring.
It's such a great
because it's all
sequence.
5 seconds. It's
Yeah.
it's so quick.
And the blood like splatters against the tarp like in the back.
And then it's
so
eerie
scary.
because in the back the chefs are
A little bit gets on his mother. So you see him like wiping it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, and she like doesn't even react because she's like 3 sheets to the wind.
And, like,
and in the back they're pulling the plastic away.
Yeah.
And all of them are just going back to work.
Yeah, the cooks. Some of the cooks they start rolling his body up. They take it away.
Yeah, they were
and,
already-
like
they're
everyone's
already-
like freaking out, and then the critics are like, "It's theater, right?
It's dramatic.
It's obviously
the actor,
theater."
the special effects makeup is amazing.
Yeah, it's like, no, y'all.
like
This is fucked up.
But most
Yeah.
people are like, oh my god, like most of them start freaking out.
Yeah. Despite
and
her,
they're
like,
served-
because she's trying to calm everyone down.
And Tyler doesn't even look up from his meal.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
No,
and
like,
she-
Anya Taylor-Joy's like,
Which one's
and
which is-
he's just, this is
pay
delicious.
attention to, because first I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why is he just like,
It's so confusing, but it makes sense later.
makes sense?
So yeah, everyone is starting to realize something truly sinister is going on, except for Tyler, of course. But Chef continues to serve the next meal, and he says, "Eat!"
He
And
screams
they're all like very scared, like just start like eating, like shoveling food into their mouths, like, oh god,
and
what's
so
this guy
then,
gonna
like,
do next?
this meal is basically just a representation of how this desire for chefs to have culinary perfection is sometimes very like mentally and emotionally draining.
Right.
Because we get this whole, we're kind of getting this idea that none of them really like doing this. They
No,
do
and that's
not
a big
enjoy
commentary as well. I would say like theme number 1 is definitely eat the rich. Theme number 2 is like being an artist or a creative person who is losing passion for what they
losing
do.
a passion for your art.
Which happens. It's like when capitalism, when capitalism is incorporated into art,
It can lose so much.
like substance
It's a meaning.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't.
Yeah,
It
which
doesn't-
I really like that. That's like one of my favorite themes in this
Yeah.
movie too. That's the thing. I think this movie is thematically so rich, and that's also something that like makes me enjoy it so much more. The old couple like try to leave. The husband is like,
We're leaving. She's
like-
my shawl.
she's like, but my shawl. He goes, fuck your shawl.
Oh, my wrap. It was a wrap.
My wrap.
Leave the wrap.
Yeah.
What's a shawl?
Roxy? What's a shawl?
Huh?
They have the crown. They have the
Shawl.
Take the crown, we wear the shawl.
Cut. What's a shawl, Roxy?
Huh?
We take the crown, we wear the shawl,
We take the crown, we wear the shawl. The
sash.
He goes to like leave out, and the security guards like block the door, and he's like, let me handle this. And Elsa steps in. She goes, with what hand? And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, with what hand do you intend on handling this with? Left or right?
Right.
And he's like, I have no time for this. And she goes, I guess we'll decide for you. Left hand, ring finger. And they grab him and they pin him down and
They chop
they
off
chop
his finger.
his finger off. His ring finger.
And he falls and screaming, and then
The wedding ring like clatters against the floor.
and
It's like all
also
dramatic.
like picks it up and gives it to the wife. He's like, here,
Your husband's
it's
ring. And again, Tyler just continues to enjoy the food. Everyone else is freaking out. Elsa comes up to Margot and she says, Chef would like to see you in the kitchen. Ooh. Margot goes to talk to him and he says, we need to figure out where to seat you. Where do you belong? With us, referring to like the kitchen staff, or with them, referring to like these customers.
Yeah.
And she says, well, if I sit with you, will you let me live? He goes, of course not.
Live. No.
This is all a part of the menu. We're all going to die tonight. Isn't that right, everyone? And everyone goes, yes, chef! And this is like her moment where she's like, oh, I'm going to die tonight. Like, it starts to hit her. Like, the camera has this, like, kind of fuzzy filter on it, and she's, like, a little dizzy, kind of.
Yeah.
This overwhelming, like, you know, knowing that, like, oh, my God.
This is it.
This is it, yeah. And Chef tells her, like, you have 15 minutes to make your decision.
Yeah, where you go.
Or,
with us, the makers, or with them, the takers.
And then she goes over and she slaps Tyler.
And then one accountant's
good.
like, who is Jaime from Broad City. He's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And he grabs his chair and throws it out the window. Bitch, it's bulletproof glass.
Which is so funny because he's like,
And then he starts hitting with his hand like, oh yeah, the chair didn't work, your fist is.
yeah. And like the chef is literally like standing there like,
yeah, like I was like, I'm not gonna, and this is again, I think there's moments if they could have gone more horror, because I always thought if they were trying to do stuff like this, they were gonna like kind of like fuck with them more after we saw the guy get his finger chopped off, and they don't.
That's what I thought too.
And
yeah,
so I was just like, so they don't really give a fuck.
I will say, like pretty much around this time in the movie, this is when I start to get a little disappointed. Just to be completely honest.
Okay.
Just to give my honest review here. I was really excited when the guy like shot himself and when they chopped the guy's finger off.
I think it's tamed again.
Then it kind of
No, because the next thing is he drowns the guy.
But I have an issue with that.
Oh my god.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. So, yeah.
Fallen Angel, great course.
So the chef comes out and he says, like, he basically is like, allow me to explain, like, why I'm doing this. This is when he gives his, like, reasoning. And for the critic, he says, you ruin so many people's businesses by writing disparaging reviews, which is kind of like, fuck the media, fuck the press.
Yeah.
You guys ruin people's lives. To the old couple, which I thought this was funny, he was like, you guys don't appreciate, like, my artistry.
Yeah.
Like, you've been here so many times, you can't even name one dish that I fucking made.
The cod.
And he's like, it was halibut, you turd, or whatever.
Yeah, he says something really snippy.
Dumb pig or something,
Yeah.
which was funny.
It was rare spotted halibut.
The accountants are like, okay, but you keep saying it's your restaurant. You technically don't own the restaurant. Our boss. Doug Varick, does. And Chef is like, oh, thank you for reminding me.
Yes.
Oh my god, Doug!
He says,
everyone look at the window.
He says, look out the window, and like a spotlight kind of illuminates, and we see Doug Varick, the boss. He is tied up to something.
Like a crane? I don't know. That is the weird part, is like they brought a crane in for that?
That's
like,
what, yeah.
There is one part.
So it's cool because he's wearing the angel wings.
That you saw when she was trying to smoke the cigarette.
Oh yeah,
you
she's
see
like,
someone
what's
wings.
the angel wings for? He's wearing the angel wings because he's like the angel investor or whatever metaphor.
Got them through COVID.
Yeah,
He got you through COVID.
He kept you guys open through COVID. He's like, yeah, and I don't give two shits, basically. And he says, but he says, Doug Varick, you would think, oh yeah, he owns me. Tonight, bitch, I'm flipping the script. I own him. And they lower him on a
there's
crane.
this funny monologue that Chef does while they're lowering him into the water. And he's like, and the last thing that he's real mad about is and he asked for substitutions. There's no substitutions at Hawthorne. And then he gets lowered.
Yeah,
into
he
the
got
water.
mad. He's basically mad at him because he's like, yeah, he paid, but he was trying to tell me what I had to cook.
He acted like he was
wanted
the
like creative liberties,
control for the menu. He's
and
like,
then they drowned him.
And so and I don't like this. And I'll tell you why. It's shot so wide.
It's really bad.
He is like a little dot in the distance.
I agree with that. I thought it was so poorly shot.
I hated
did
it.
not like it.
This is a horror movie, and you're not going to show
That's
the
thing.
person
Also,
get drowned?
watching this movie, and I talked to Keaton about this last night. I was like, I get there's some graphic gore in this, but I'm like, this movie does not warrant a rated R.
It's R for its language.
It's R for its language.
There's no way it's not. They're dropping all.
They do drop F-bombs a lot.
There's no way it's not.
But it's like, you already have an R rating. Go for it.
Exactly.
I kind of got blue balls, horror blue balls watching this as a horror fan. I was like, okay, they drowned him. I wanted this guy to get tortured. Also, it's so weird that we never see him before this moment. It feels very a little.
Oh, okay, that dude.
Yeah, it's like, okay, whatever. And because the music is so dramatic, you're like, is this supposed to be a big moment?
It was to add a layer to those the accountant guys. It was to give them another layer to their story, but they didn't need that. We didn't like them. They were bad people. We didn't need.
Sure.
We didn't need
execute it better.
I think I don't know. I think there could have been a moment with the owner Like, you could have just been there, like, stopping by, or, like...
To, like, and be like, oh, and, like, maybe he is insistent on, like, a particular dish or something.
Yeah.
And then maybe send him into that silver, or send him
through the silver door, yeah.
Like, something, like, or cut it all together.
I agree.
It's just...
I do agree, it's not, like...
You're just like,
we just saw somebody shoot themselves in the face in a huge bloody mess.
And we saw someone get their finger cut off.
And then I see a guy get drowned from 50 feet away.
Literally 50 feet away, and it's out of frame and we can't even see it. I don't know. Okay.
Because they're also shooting it through the window, so it just has this weird, like...
Yeah.
You can't... It's kind of obscure. I just remember watching it last night. I was like, okay. Yeah. It didn't really...
Bye, Doug.
So, Margot's 15-minute timer goes off. Yes. And she has to go meet with Chef to decide where she belongs. And Margot says, she admits to him, she says, "You're right. I don't belong with them." And he says, "I can tell who you are. You are a service worker just like me." This is when we get our big reveal. Margot is not Tyler's girlfriend. She's a paid escort.
She's an escort, yep.
Mm-hmm. And
she also knows Richard.
The husband
who got his finger chopped off.
Mm-hmm. She's been hired by him before.
To watch him jack off, I think?
And
pretend to be his daughter.
And pretend to be his daughter, who presumably is, like, dead. Like, we don't know where Claire is.
Yeah, right.
And say that he's a good man.
Yeah.
And then...
I thought that was so funny.
And then Chef's like, "Oh, he's a romantic or whatever," and she's like, "No, it's pretty unoriginal."
Sure, yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Which is probably fair. I mean, it's this is when I actually am back invested, because I really like Margot's like realizing she's a sex worker or she's an escort or whatever.
Yeah,
I like that. It makes so many connections, because there's also a line that I liked that we didn't discuss, but when she's talking with Tyler, she's saying, You're the one paying the chef. Yeah. Who cares if he likes you?" And then he's like, "What?" And she's like,
Never mind.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which now that kind of makes a connection of
she doesn't like Tyler, but he's a client, and it's
he's
like, fan.
And so he kind of gets that connection of like, "Oh, do you not like me?" And it's like, so that's like that's a good moment.
That's so true.
And that's why we get this whole idea of like, she doesn't know anything about Tyler. Tyler doesn't know anything about her,
and she's a sex worker, so she's, clearly from the lower class.
Yeah.
So that's why she doesn't want to eat this food, because it's all bougie, like, gross food to her. Yeah. She's probably eats, like, normal people food.
Yeah.
And
like, "Girl, I just want some McDonald's."
Yeah, she wants, like, McDonald's, probably.
Period.
And I like that. That's something that I really enjoy about this movie is their connection, because then Margot and Chef...
They kind of get this little bit of
understand each other.
They kind of get more of a bond with each other.
Yeah.
And I kind of like... I think he likes that he challenges her. Yeah. That she challenges him.
Right.
And then... and I think she kind of gets that kind of a sympathetic feel for him. Of
sure.
"Oh, you liked what you did, and you just fucking hate it now. You hate doing this with it. You don't like these people either."
Because he's like, "Do you enjoy what you do?" And she's like, "I used to, but now I don't really enjoy it."
And he's kind of like, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have that connection of like, you lose the passion for it.
Yeah.
Because you just get overworked, and people just kind of...
trying to chew you up and spit you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And try to tell you what to do all the time. And it's like, I'm the professional.
Right, exactly. So then Chef goes out and he has everyone join him outside. This is when we meet sous chef Catherine.
We love Catherine.
She's great. She says...
She's a fucking psycho, too.
She says, "Chef tried to fuck me several times in the past, and when I rejected him, he basically treated me like shit and ignored me, like,
for 8 months. Wouldn't talk to me directly, wouldn't make eye contact with me.
Because he can do that. He's the star.
The star, yeah. And Chef, like, lets her, in this kind of, like, I don't know, ritualistic kind of vibe, stab him
in the thigh
with a pair of scissors.
Like he stabbed his dad in the thigh because he is a man. This is
basically him saying, "I've become a piece of shit too."
Like my dad.
I'm just
because the title of this course is Man's Folly.
Yeah, this course is Man's Folly. And he says, just because men have, the edge in life, basically, I'm going to give you a 45-second head start to try and escape.
Yeah.
And then after the 45 seconds, my staff is going to go and try and catch you.
Yeah.
And Tyler doesn't like start running at
He
first.
does it
Well,
with
one guy, before the chef even finishes talking, just deadbolts. He's like, I'm out.
He's like, all right,
And he's
45
like,
seconds.
okay, 45 seconds starts now, I guess. And then all of them just start to go off and do their thing. And the husband, he's like, I'll call for help as soon as I get out.
And he runs really slow, which is funny.
He's like, okay.
And Tyler doesn't go. Tyler's like chilling with the women. And he's like, you too, like, what, the rules
And
still
he's
apply.
mad. He's mad. He's like, fine.
Yeah. And the women all go inside with Catherine, and they try to convince her to, like, you know.
Well, and they get like a meal. They get like another course.
Yeah.
And they're all,
They get
it's the girls chilling.
It's men's folly.
Emoji. They get the emoji.
And,
yeah. She's like, I really like the emoji. What is
Umbache.
I like
yeah,
that.
they all start trying to kiss her ass. And the critic's like, oh, you could get your own restaurant.
I can help you with that. But we have to solve the problem of dying. And she's like, oh, that was my idea. I'm really proud that I pitched that it's the ending to the menu, that you all die. We all die.
And they're like, what?
They're like, damn, past the line.
Yeah, they're like, okay, I guess we'll just, They start smoking cigarettes, so like, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of, side note, I love Catherine, like, as a character, and I was vibing with that character up until she said it was her idea to kill everybody, because I think that kind of, like, detracts from Chef. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, wouldn't the first initial idea for this whole plan be him being like, we're gonna kill everybody?
I'm like, what was the first draft then? If you came in and said we should kill everyone, but we should just say mean names to them? Like, like
I didn't like that.
Because as we learned, it's a calculated attack.
It's just played for a joke, right? Yeah. But I did think I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Like Chef is the mastermind, not this like random sous chef that we just met 2 seconds ago. But I digress. This is when Margot realizes, she says, oh, by the way, if anyone gives a shit to know, my real name's Erin. I'm from Massachusetts.
Yeah. Also, the wife says, you know my husband.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. She's like, yeah. Yeah, I do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah, we see all the men scrambling.
And they're picked off one by one. And
one guy gets like a boat, and you think, oh, maybe he's gonna get out.
No, then he's wet. Then one guy gets tackled.
Two guys are running next to each other, like, stop running with me. He's like, no, you're running with me.
And then the last guy
is hiding in the chicken coop.
Yeah. And he gets a prize for being the last one.
The like door just like a little window just opens and somebody just hands him a
and he's like,
a little
congratulations,
you're the last one found.
And he just kind of takes a sigh. He's like, fine. And he starts eating.
Yeah.
Thanks.
like might as well just eat the good food if I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And then, they're all captured and they're brought back to the dining area.
And the actor, because there's also the whole actor assistant sequence. Because she's like, did you do well? And he's like, yeah, obviously. I'm right here. I was the first one to escape.
He's like, no, I'm a fucking failure. I know. I'm sorry. And this is great. She goes, it's okay. I've been stealing money from you. And he's
know.
I know.
I know that you know.
I also wrote a bad recommendation to Sony about you.
I know. UCC.
That was so good.
She has the best moments. Love her. This is when Chef decides to call out Tyler.
POS. Big piece of shit.
He reveals that Tyler knew that everyone was going to die beforehand.
He'd been emailed like 8 months ago with what the menu was, what the plan was, everything.
And Tyler got broken up with his girlfriend, so he paid this escort, Margot, to join him, fully knowing that she would be killed.
And because he only seats, you can't be they don't seat singles.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like good for that girlfriend for dumping him. Like,
she got out of the
She got out because he was fully gonna take her.
Mm-hmm. And Anya Taylor-Joy is so pissed.
She like Maury Povich. You
jumps over the table to like punch her.
Yeah.
They have to like pull her off him. It's great. And then this is when Tyler gets what is coming to him.
Yeah.
And Chef asks him to prepare a meal
because he's such a foodie who knows everything there is to know about food. So why don't you prepare the next course?
Fully like patronizing Tyler, but Tyler thinks it's genuine. He's like, oh, me? Oh my god. And he gets like really nervous and I need
shallots. Shit. You need shit.
want shit? Shallots. Shallots.
Oh, shallots for the
Shallots for the foodie.
for the brilliant.
Oh, you want some lamb? Oh,
Lamb.
okay.
Oh, a new dicing technique we weren't
We
familiar
were
with.
woefully unaware of.
And he's like just nervous.
Everybody gather. Let's learn from the great chef Tyler.
Yeah, just basically reading the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And Tyler makes what Chef refers to as Tyler's bullshit. It's just a bunch of random shit,
Shallot,
like sauteed together.
leeks,
basically.
butter, and
Yeah.
lamb.
And he says, "Oh, it's quite bad. This tastes like fucking shit, basically." And this crushes Tyler's soul. And he starts crying, and like his dreams are being ripped away from him, basically.
Never meet your idols.
Yeah. And Chef says, "You are why the mystery has been drained from our art." And then he whispers something in Tyler's ear that we do not hear. And Tyler
Says, yes,
just
chef.
says, "Yes, chef." And he takes off, because they gave him like a little chef jacket.
He takes it off.
And he just goes to the other
And
room.
he starts to like loosen up his high.
His tie. Yeah. And that's all we see so far.
Walks away.
Walks away. Then Chef tells Margot, he says, "Okay, well, if you're going to be, one of us, the service workers, then I have a task for you. You need to go to the smokehouse and you need to retrieve this, like, barrel."
I need it for the final course.
Yeah.
And we can't do it without the barrel.
Yeah.
He's like very like, we need this barrel. It's
And
supposed to be right
Elsa did not get the barrel.
My negligent assistant, Elsa. And he, like, gives this, like, pointed look to Elsa, and she looks so pressed. She's like, fuck. And he's like, "She didn't get it, so you need to go get it." And Margot
like,
goes to
"I'm
leave.
out."
She walks past this room, and she sees Tyler has hung himself with his tie.
Yeah.
And she doesn't look upset.
No,
she's like, that tracks. Yeah. She just keeps going. And at this point, the actor guy is wondering, like, why he's being punished.
So good. And so Chef goes on this tangent. He's like, I had a Sunday off. My first day off in months. And I spent my day watching Dr. Sunshine. And it was... He like hated it.
It was a shitty movie, and I could tell that you lost your passion as an actor. And he goes, "And it pained me."
It's very Saw when you think about it. Like
It is, yeah,
like
he's very Jigsaw.
like
yeah.
you committed crimes against. In my mind, these were crimes. So
He has that kind of self-righteous
So I'm punishing
justification.
because then the assistant is like,
"What about me?" And he goes, "This is my favorite part. This part made me cackle." He goes, "Where did you go to college?" She says,
Brown. Student loans. No.
"Yeah, you're dying, bitch."
yeah.
That killed me. It was so funny. And she's just kind of like,
Yeah, I got it.
she's like, "Well, fine, yeah." Yeah, this is where we cut back to Margot.
She gets the barrel.
She gets the barrel, but she sneaks into Chef's house.
Cottage.
She's trying to find like a way out. And this is when Miss Elsa
and
pops
she's like,
up.
no one's allowed in Chef's house.
Yeah.
And my thing is like,
You've been
then
a
why are you
nuisance
here?
all night, and she's holding a knife.
And she says, he never told me to get about the barrel.
Yeah. "You're not gonna replace me!"
Me.
And she goes to attack Margot. And they have like this big showdown.
Scuffle. And,
I loved this part.
Another thing that when she first enters the house, the kitchen is the exact same kitchen.
Oh.
No, his house is a direct replica
It's like
of the restaurant. His house is
I
a
didn't notice that.
And that is the moment that I think we were both referencing earlier. We're like, he's fucking insane. Like, we know he's insane,
Right.
but it's like,
His bed is just in the middle of a replica of the dining room from the restaurant.
his whole
That's
life
crazy.
is this fucking restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he can't even just have like a normal house kitchen.
Because he's so obsessive.
He's just so obsessed with it.
I love this showdown.
Yeah.
This is great.
She throws that big machine at
Yeah.
Elsa.
Chucks her in the face.
slides
And
across
pulls
the
a knife and is
table.
And she manages to overpower Elsa, and she
Stab
like
her in the
stabs
neck.
her in
She
the
kind of
throat.
freaks out a bit.
And I freaked out. I was devastated. Elsa's the best character, and now she's gone.
I know. Sassy.
Diva down.
I want to turn
Diva down.
And Margot, she goes and she is exploring Chef's house, trying to like find some way out of it. She stumbles into his I don't know, private room or something, and there's all these pictures and like
Is it
awards.
behind
He's
It's the silver door
Silver door.
in his house. It's the replica of the silver door from the restaurant.
Gotcha. And it has like newspaper clippings of, you know, his accomplishments and all his restaurants he's opened.
And then
But there's
on a
and
table,
he has
on a single table is a framed photo.
and he keep in mind in all of these photos he's not smiling.
Well,
Yeah.
and one of them is a clipping of the newspaper that Lillian Bloom,
Yeah,
an article about
The first
him,
one
the
that,
like,
one that
put it
got
on the map.
Yeah.
And he has
Not smiling
He
at
looks like miserable in all these other
Miserable.
photos. She finds this award from when he was a fry cook, like his first job
As in high school.
in like a chain like burger joint. And it's like
He's
an
employee of
employee
the
of the
month.
month, and he's
He's
got a
smiling.
big beaming
From ear to
smile.
ear.
Like the happiest, like
Yeah.
just enjoying what he's doing.
Innocent, just starting out, fresh face. And she kind of has a moment like reflecting on this picture. And I think it reminds her of when she started doing her work and,
Yeah.
how much she enjoyed it in the beginning.
Yeah.
And again, like the parallels between her and Chef.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Margot also finds a radio. Mhm. She uses it to like alert the Coast Guard. She brings the barrel back.
She kicks that
Kicks
thing.
it in. She's like, here you go,
And
bitch.
she's like covered in Elsa's blood, and nobody like says anything. She's beat up.
Yeah.
She looks a mess, and everyone's just kind of like, okay.
She just like goes. She like sits down.
Thanks
like,
for the
okay.
barrel.
Yeah, and this is when we realize that the Coast Guard is coming.
Yeah.
We see a boat with sirens.
See a boat with sirens, and they're all excited. They're like, "Oh my god!" And Chef is like, "Be chill, or I'm gonna kill this."
Like,
guy.
if you tell him what I'm doing, then we'll kill him
We'll
too.
kill him. So think about what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, and then he
overreact.
comes in and he's asking, I got a disturbance call, whatever.
Is
and,
everything okay?
And Chef's like, oh, we're in the middle of dinner. Like,
Yeah.
we're all fine.
Yeah,
We don't
everything's
serve
chill.
radios with our menu, whatever. And as he's walking out, he turns around and is like, weren't you the actor that was in Calling Dr. Sunshine?
I love that movie.
Like,
And the actor like gives this shitty like look.
He's like,
very
oh my-
pointed look.
because
to
it's like the
chef.
5th time it's been brought up.
Yeah.
It's like the 5th time this movie's been mentioned.
It's like, oh yeah, Dr. Sunshine. Yeah, that's a big fan favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny. And Chef has like this annoyed look. And he asks
like,
for an
"Can I have an
autograph.
autograph?"
And the actor like takes this opportunity. He writes "Help us" on the like card
Yeah.
or whatever. And the officer sees it, and then he pulls his gun out, and he's
pointing at the shaft.
And they're like, kill him,
like,
shoot him,
yeah,
shoot
they're
him,
like-
shoot
they're like,
him.
it was him. Help us. They're like, oh, thank God, we're gonna get out
and
of
then
it.
he points it at
Margot.
Margot. And
He pulls the trigger, and it's a lighter.
And he lights a candle
It's a
that's on the
fake gun.
table.
Yep.
And they're all like,
It's
what?
revealed that he's working for.
He's like,
for
he,
chef.
he takes off the outfit, and then he
Yeah.
puts on his chef outfit
Yeah.
and walks to the back. And it's like the whole, we're all family, and family looks out for family, but you, Margot, you're a traitor.
Yep.
Like, we're a family, you're a traitor, so you actually do belong out
He
here.
says you're a taker, not a giver, like I thought you were.
Yeah.
And she actually starts to cry. Like this kind of like
She's like, I thought I was gonna live.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
they prepare the final course, and everyone's kind of accepted their fate. Like, okay, we're gonna die. But this is when Margot,
She stands up, and she does the iconic clap.
she gives the clap, and she decides to go in on Chef. She just like lets have.
She's like, I fucking hate it. And
This
talks about
your
the
food
sauce.
was terrible. It was
Yeah.
pretentious.
And I want to send it back.
Every dish was like a thought experiment, and there was no love.
Yeah.
There was no joy.
She's like, it was a mind fuck. Like, it's stupid.
and I want something good.
she's like,
I'm
I'm
full.
still hungry.
I'm still.
And he's like, I'm sorry to hear that. What would you like? What are you hungry for?
What do you have?
We have everything. She goes, you know what? I just want a burger.
I want a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
What kind
She's
of
like-
cheese?
He's like, well, she says, and I don't want
A
pretentious, deconstructed mind.
bullshit
She said,
one.
I want a classic cheeseburger.
I want American cheese and I want French fries.
And
Because
he-
American cheese
and-
is the best cheese for a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
it
'cause
doesn't break.
You don't have to break it to melt it.
Yeah. And Chef kind of gets like a twinkle in his eye.
He's like giddy.
Yeah.
And then like we
He might as well
see
do a little bellhop.
And this was such a power move by her. Like,
Yeah.
she used that reverse psychology perfectly here.
Yeah.
And he is like, all right, staff, let's make a burger. And he's like, I'm going to make the best burger you've ever fucking had.
Yeah.
And she's like,
She's
I don't think
he's
you
like,
can.
it's gonna remind you of the first burger. He's like, it's gonna be like the first burger you ever had, which was from some drive-through that your parents bought for you for
that they could
$2.
probably barely afford.
Yeah, barely afford.
And she's like, I don't really think you can do that. And he's like, try me, bitch. And he goes back there.
And he does it personally.
Yeah,
he makes it himself.
His own cheeseburger. It looks so good.
I literally had to go to McDonald's this morning because I watched this last night and get a fucking cheeseburger because it looked so fucking good.
But he makes this cheeseburger for her with fries. He presents it to her. He the whole time he's making it, kind of has this whimsical smile on his
enjoying
face.
it. He's like,
yeah,
it's the first time he's enjoyed
what he does,
what he's doing
in years.
Yeah,
and it moves him. Basically.
She also asked for fries. I will say.
She gets fries.
The chef goes, "Is the fryer still on?" And the one cook is like, "Yes, chef." And
she's like, "We could do that." Yeah.
Fries.
So she moved him. She got him to experience his passion again for the first time in years. So he serves her the cheeseburger.
She's loving it.
She says, "I can tell this was made with love."
Yeah.
She's like, That is a cheeseburger. That is a damn good cheeseburger. Oh my god, it looks so good. It was juicy.
It was juicy.
Yeah. And
she takes a single bite
and was like, my eyes were bigger than mine.
And she loved it. And she just you could tell she was like, God damn, this is actually really fucking good.
She's like, actually, I am sorry. We've been here 8 hours.
She goes, it's great, but I'm afraid my eyes are bigger than my stomach, which coming from Anya Taylor-Joy is a fucking joke.
Has the
because
biggest eyes
her
in
eyes
Hollywood
are 95% of her fucking face.
So funny.
But so yeah, girl, of course they're bigger than your stomach. She's like, can I get this
it to go?
Can I get the rest to go? And he's like,
Sounds good. And I think because, she reminded him of why he does what he does, brought him back the first ounce of joy that he's experienced in years. He's like, all right, I guess I don't have to kill you.
Yeah, she's worthy.
Yeah, you can go.
And they all kind of the rest of them are
they just watch.
They just watch, and they're all kind of impressed with it. And so he comes, he packed it, and he's like, here's also a gift bag for you.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. And she just kind of picks it up and kind of is hesitant at first.
She's
And
like,
kind of walks.
I go?
And she turns around, and the wife,
the older
kind of she's
couple.
Go.
She's go.
Literally get
Go,
out.
get out.
I love the wife character.
Yeah.
I was like, she did nothing wrong. Why is she gonna die? Yeah. Poor thing.
Well, I think that's why she kind of
it's also the greed too, because
True.
She was also at that restaurant 11 times, and
that's true. I guess she couldn't name a dish either. That's fair. Yeah, but still, I was like,
I don't think she deserved to die, but in Chef's mind, she did.
She did. Fair enough. I mean, if the one girl is gonna die because she didn't have student loans, I guess this bitch is gonna have to die.
Yeah. But it's I kind of liked that connection. Yeah. I don't know. I thought that was a very nice moment. I think they were all kind of I think all of them kind of realized you outsmarted him. Yeah. You deserve to get out.
You deserve to go.
Please get out of here.
Exactly. And they also recognize their own hubris. They're like, you're not clearly a rich asshole like the rest of us are.
It's kind of they've kind of now by the end they kind of get Stockholm syndrome into being no, Chef's kind of right. We do deserve to die.
Yeah.
That's how charismatic. Even though he's so brooding and so he is a charismatic
he made
leader.
Some points.
And she also did leave money. She
she gave him a $10 bill.
She was because she asked how much is it going to cost me, the burger, and he's like $9.95. She's like, okay.
I can do that. She gives a $10 bill, and she leaves.
And then he's like, okay, matter of the check for everyone. And so everyone has to start paying.
They're
all fine.
And then
get their credit cards
tries
out.
to take it, and then he goes,
it's on the magazine.
It's on the magazine.
They're all putting their credit cards out on the table. And this is when Chef announces dessert, which is s'mores.
And I didn't realize he's so mad about the existence of s'mores.
I love s'mores.
Me too. I was like, oh, I would love a s'more.
Well, he's it's a metaphor for the kind of fakeness of capitalism.
Just this, because everything in it is kind of
so processed.
And made by child labor in a country that you don't know.
Yeah, and it's supposed to, but we associate it with innocence.
Yeah, and summertime, childhood memories, all that stuff. And he says, tonight, you will be part of the menu. And he dresses them all up.
With a little chocolate hat that looks like a Rolo.
Yeah, like a little pillbox hat, kind of.
And then these shawls.
These marshmallow. And
They
they're
have the crown, they have the shawl.
Take the crown, we wear the shawl.
Cut. What's a shaw, Roxy?
It's kind of a sleigh of an outfit. Like,
Honestly,
like
Drag Race, unconventional
And they
materials
like
challenge.
basically dress up the whole dining room as a plate.
they put chocolate and marshmallow and graham cracker.
And they spill out
Gas.
lighter fluid.
From the barrel!
From the barrel she had to get. They spilled out all over the room, and Chef lights a match. And
like Judith Light is like crying, and the wife, and she's like, "Thank you, chef. Thank you, chef." Like that's how Stockholm. Like they're like when he's going into this monologue of like, "You all deserve. We are all dying. We all deserve it." All the patrons are like, "Yes, yes, thank you, and they're crying. They're like happy. Like it's so messed.
Very
up.
interesting, yeah. And Margot, she escapes in the Coast Guard boat, and she's like getting away. And she can see in the distance a big explosion.
She's eating her burger too.
Yep, she sits down, she eats her burger, and then she uses...
This is another thing where I feel like they could have gone a little further with the explosion. Because it was, again, from so far away, I'm like, why didn't we get this like close?
I want to see it.
I want to see the whole
place.
place.
This is a horror movie, yeah.
Like just go
This
up
isn't like an action movie, this isn't a comedy, this is marketed as a horror movie.
Yes.
It's the marketing, I think, is what...
Well, it's because it's a comedy horror,
me,
but like... It was marketed as comedy horror.
Yeah. Well, you just thought from the trailer, you were like, oh, this is going to go.
Oh, yeah. There's only one funny moment in the trailer.
I've learned to, like, not watch trailers anymore, honestly. I think that, like, the marketing is always so misleading for all these movies.
Yeah.
It's better to just not watch it.
Yeah.
It doesn't get your expectations heightened to be let down. But yeah, she eats her cheeseburger and she uses the menu
to wipe. It's the first time we see, because all he says is there is a menu in there. It's the first time we actually see a physical menu.
Because he also gives the gift bags to all the people that are about to be set on fire.
Yeah, he was like, and gift bags for you all. But yeah, so he blew everybody up. Margot escaped, and she enjoys her cheeseburger. And
her boat runs out of gas, and hopefully she makes that.
I'm sure she's fine,
Yeah, it's just a little island over there.
And that's the menu.
That's the menu, y'all.
Overall, really fun.
Fun movie.
This movie is a fun time. I enjoyed myself both times that I've seen it. It's, again, it just sadly got a little overshadowed in 2022 by all of those amazing, like, truly terrifying and, like, outrageous
more, like, standard horror movies.
Yeah.
Or, I guess, traditional horror movies is what I should say.
But this was... Like,
I still think I think this is a great film.
Great ride.
But, I think it could have been a little bit more concise. I don't know. I agree with you that it could have gone.
I wish it could have just taken it up a notch. I want more. I want, like, that action sequence, that fight between Margot and Elsa.
It was great.
Give me more of that.
Yeah.
I want it, because it's so heightened, and this movie exists in this universe where all the characters are shitty fucking people.
Yeah.
Don't we kind of want to see them get killed? That's the whole point of a horror movie.
But I guess the whole thing is, like, he didn't want anyone to die until the final course. Like, he wanted them to see the whole thing.
Because that would have ruined the menu.
Yeah. It makes sense within the context of the story. I think,
you know what? Kill off some of the cooks. I needed some people, more people to die.
Yeah, I wanted a higher kill count. I think.
The kill count's high because literally everyone dies.
Yeah, it's like 30 people
True.
towards the end, but it doesn't feel that high.
Yeah.
Because it's just when everyone just dies in an explosion, it's like, okay.
Yeah. If you don't like horror, it's a good soft horror movie. It's a very good.
And I will agree with that. Like, I think that if you are a foodie or somebody who's interested in, like, culinary arts, or just somebody who is an artist in general, I think this movie will really speak to you. Yeah. And great cast, funny script, and overall, fun ride.
Yeah.
I like the menu. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell us what you think about the menu in the comments.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of, Keaton is our social media
manager.
And they have created for us our fucking Instagram that we've been promising for like weeks.
So now y'all can finally follow us.
Yeah.
So if you go to Instagram, it's Let's Scream Pod. 2 S's in the middle. Let's Scream Pod. And give us a follow. We'll post links. We'll post video.
Shout out to Christina on YouTube for giving us our first review.
Thank you, Christine.
Oh my god, thank you so much on our Baby Jane review. That like made my whole day. Thank you for listening. We're trying to, get this podcast running. Like, we want to build our following and
little community.
Yeah, and I know that I know a lot of people who listen to us, but they're not leaving reviews, they're not commenting, they're not like engaging, and that's more important than most people would think it is.
Yeah.
Like, so please
It's free.
It's free to do it.
Free.
So if you enjoyed this review of the menu, please leave a comment, please please share. It's so important. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube. And please follow us on Spotify. That way we can monetize this podcast, which is my goal.
And we can give you a better podcast in the end.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have better audio. At some point, we want to get visuals. Like, we want to get some camera set up going.
Yes.
So, and that all depends on y'all. So, all our followers out there, all of our listeners, please
follow.
Please follow. Yeah.
And support.
Support.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, Keaton, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. This has been such a delight. We need to get you on for another one. So, but we'll let you decide.
So it's not too scary.
And you guys are also going to Japan.
Yeah.
So we're pre-recording this is couple weeks in advance.
Yes, it is.
So I hope you guys have so much fun.
Thank you.
We will
Very
try.
excited.
I'm sure, you guys will have to post some stuff in the Instagram, on the pod Instagram.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Well, should we go ahead and sign off, y'all?
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Let's Scream. We hope you had a fun time at Hawthorne's Island.
Yes. Please remember to follow the pod, like the pod, and leave a glowing review of the pod, of course. You can also send us movie requests for future episodes. Keaton, where can our listeners follow you at?
On Instagram, Jesus_is_biscuit.
Amazing.
Jesus is a biscuit. Let him sop you up.
Whoa, Jesus is a biscuit. Ah, Jesus is a biscuit. Let us sop you up.
Right.
Jesus is a biscuit. And I let him sop me up.
As you should. See, where can they follow you?
You can follow me at Stevie Nash 95 on Instagram.
You can follow me at Parker_Will_C. And until next time, this has been
Let's Scream! Bye.